How's it going? David from Comic Book Investments. So in this video, we're going to look at 5 keys that are dropping in price. Yes, going down in value. Quite a bit, 92%, I think is top on the list, which is one of the highest I think I've ever seen. I might have seen a 94 or 95%, but very, very high for this book. And it just keeps on dropping. So I'll talk about that. Also, before I get into the video, if you ever buy anything on eBay, it could be toilet paper, or it could be comic books, or computers, whatever it is. I have a link in every description of every video I ever use. If you use that link, it basically gives me a small kickback. So if you ever buy anything, just click the link. It doesn't matter what it is, auction, buy now, whatever it is. Click the link to buy stuff. And then I end up using some of that money to basically use those giveaways that I have like every couple months. So use the link if you ever buy anything, helps out the channel. All right, let's get in the video. All right, first up is we got Batman #1 from 2016. One recently sold in a 9.8 for $28. In January, selling on average about $59. In 2023, selling for about $51. At its peak, way back when it first came out, it sold for $150. So that is down 81% from its peak. This is like a lot of times with a lot of these modern books, that's kind of where it's going to run. And $28 seems a bit low for this book, but it should be for a #1 and a Batman. It's going to be around case cost, which is going to be between $40 and $60. And that's where it seems to kind of be jumping around. It's like whenever the sell, it could be high, it could be low. So that's where it's always going to be. Is it ever going to go back to its peak when it first came out? No. Modern books generally don't do that. Just know with a modern book, the most it will ever be is when it first comes out, generally speaking. And then it just kind of sets into where it's going to be forever, which will be a cost case book if it's a 9.8. If it's below a 9.8, then you shouldn't even be grading it. If you buy it like that, that's fine. You can probably pick up like a 9.6 for like $20, $15, things like that. So below case cost. They really need to, and I've been talking with PSA about figuring out a way to make that better for comic books. They have some ideas, which I think are good. Because the problem is when you have to spend almost $50, because you have to think insurance, shipping there and back. Then they have like CGC has like a handling fee per order, and then they have their fee of the grading, all that kind of stuff. There's got to be, if there's a cheaper way to get these things graded better or more cheaply, then you'll get more comic books getting graded, because there's a lot of comic books that just really aren't worth grading. So it would really open the floodgates, because now if you have a book that's graded and it's like, oh, it's $35, it's like, oh, $25, $35 you're selling this book for graded, then you could actually, it would incentivize people to do it because you could actually turn a profit. So you need a way to be able, they have it with cards. They have it with cards because cards are very cheap as well. And so you can get them graded for like $5 or $8, something like that, something ridiculous. So they need a way to get it like that. All right, next is we got Black Panther #2, first appearance of Shuri. A 9.8 originally sold for $99. Wow. In January, selling for $142, down 30%. In 2023, selling for $215, down 54%. And it peaked at $1,300, down 92%. That's ridiculous. $1,300, wow. It keeps on dropping. And it doesn't seem like it's going any slower. Frankie. Yeah, he's snoring. He's down there. I always bring my dogs to work with me. Yeah, so I don't know what to say. I mean, I think I've done videos where I thought it would kind of $100 was kind of like its lowest. But I don't see it really slowing down. It's been on a steady decline since the beginning of the year. Now it's slowed down, obviously, from its peak, and then it's just been like coasting down. Could we see a $75 for this one? Possibly. It's below, it used to, before the comic boom, it was selling for about $150, $140. So it's below that. So maybe this is just a random low sale, but judging by the graph and the trend, it's going down. All right, next is we got What If #31, a 9.8 recently sold for $125, a 9.8 in January selling for $285. That's down 56%. In 2023, it was averaging 278, down 55%, and then its peak was 705, down 83%. Cool book. I like this book. I had it as a kid. Yeah, but it kind of looked like it stabilized, and then it just, man, it looks like it fell off a cliff within the last like year. Again, another big cliff drop. So, wow. This book, if I had to make my prediction on this book, I think it'll still go down from where it is, 125, which is pretty low. I think it'll be a $100 book. All right, next we got Warrior #1. This is the first appearance of V for Vendetta and Miracle Man. No, Marvel Man. What the hell is his name? Miracle Man. Anyways, I'll get into that in a second. An 8.0 sold for $691. In January, it was $831. That's down 17%. In 2023, it's averaging about $1,200, down 42%. And its peak is $1,640, down 58%. This is down across the board. Marvel Man. So this is Alan Moore. He's from the UK. He did V for Vendetta, great movie. And then he revamped Marvel Man, which is Miracle Man. Marvel Man was the UK's straight up copy, steal of Captain Marvel. And a lot of times they would just kind of tell similar stories. And then what ended up happening was there's lawsuits, all sorts of stuff. Anyways, it went away. But he brought him back in 1985, I believe. This is when it came out, somewhere around there. So he brought him back as Miracle Man. And yeah, it was a good run. That kind of made him pretty popular. And then he got the Watchmen series. And then that's what blew Alan Moore up. Figuratively, not literally. All right, last on the list is XMen #6. And a 6.5 recently sold for $360. In January, it was $489, down 26%. In 2023, it was averaging $510, down 29%. And at its peak, it was $1,100, down 67%. Yeah, early Submariner appearance. And I mean, Submariner is not as hot as he used to be. But it looks like it's kind of stable. Had a couple drops. Overall, this book has been dropping, but I think it's kind of reached kind of its low point on this particular book. That is it. Our featured auction is starting in 2 weeks from now. Have a great day.